Welcome to Filtered Thru Coffee, the podcast hosted by two dope Black officiants. As wedding officiants, we pour our hearts into every love story we tell, and this podcast is no different. So grab your favorite mug, pour yourselves a cup, and join us in rich wedding conversations that are for us, by us.
Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Filtered Thru Coffee, the podcast where candid wedding conversations are brewed with authenticity and a whole lot of culture. I'm Reverend Whitney-Marie, your wedding officiant from the West Coast and owner of Rev I Do Officiating. And we have my co-host and co-visionary and co-beautiful list, all the things, Tiara Bryan, who is also a wedding officiant on the East Coast and is the owner of Royal Treatments with Tiara. So, who's sipping with us today, right? So grab your cups, because today's conversation is for our melanated business friends and our curvaceous brides and beings, okay? So, we have today the incomparable, the illustrious, the pretty in pink, ba-boom, ba-boom, Shafonne Myers, a media mogul, right? Like, get hype. She is a media mogul who created the world's only site for plus-size brides, Pear Bride, and is the CEO, y'all, of a top wedding media company and digital marketing agency with over 20 wedding publications, of which she owns 8 of them, okay? So, and that is Isle Society. And as a Jill of many trades and a master of all of them, it sounds like, sis, we welcome you to the podcast. Welcome. Tell us about yourself and why you said yes to
and I'm just gonna be completely honest. When you hear about yourself, you're like, oh wow. And sometimes we need that reminder to be like, I'm a bad bee.
Come on now.
I'm gonna thank me for being me.
Right. Come on, Snoop.
So crazy. Sometimes we just don't remember or realize or even think about it. So I appreciate y'all for one, having me on, but two, actually reminding me, like, to hear it and to hear the things that I've done. Sometimes you just forget because you get into like go, do. So I appreciate y'all so much. Why did I say yes? Well, number one, I said yes because I was like, when you slide in my DMs and you talk to me and you say, hey, how are you? Can we have a conversation? Of course we can. I am someone who will talk to anyone who's willing to listen, not because I want to hear my own voice, but because I want more people to hear about what I'm doing. And I think I was just like, yeah, I'm down. Let's chat. Let's talk. I started in the wedding industry as a wedding planner. And so I was a wedding planner. I loved planning weddings. And I realized that I started getting a lot of plus size brides. Now, I am a plus size. I've always been plus size. I've been plus size literally my whole life. And I didn't even know that I was putting off the vibe to attract plus size brides. But what I realized is that anyone who is getting married or going through any pivotal point in their life, they're going to gravitate to someone who looks like them. And I was just like, every client that I had, and not all of them were plus size, but I'd say at least 80% of them were. And they were always like, I came to you over someone else because I automatically knew that you were going to see me, hear me, and understand what I'm going through. Absolutely. And I was like, wow, didn't even know that was a thing, especially then. And it was, because when I was planning weddings, girl, my oldest is 18 now. And when I was planning weddings, I had just had her. Maybe she might have been like 2 or 3. Wow. And so I was like,
I'm sorry. Right. 18 what? Years? Right. Like, I mean, baby.
Yes. She is 18. She'll be 19 in December, getting ready to go to college. So and it's like, I think that's a whole other aspect. Most people don't know. Like, I have high school and then I have a middle school son. So he's 13. And then I have a 5-year-old daughter. Girl, we out here just doing, the household is like, yes, I'm just trying to survive. My husband and I, we're just trying to survive. We're just trying to survive out here in the Myers household. And don't throw the dog, and we got a dog in there, you throw her in there. But I think that's where I really learned about the industry, about the wedding industry in particular, and how people just really want to be seen and heard. And then from there, that's what prompted me to start Pretty Pear Bride. So I started Pretty Pear Bride in 2011.
Wow.
And I started it because as being a planner and then realizing I loved planning weddings, but I wanted to have a broader reach. I didn't just want to help people that were where I was. And so that's why I started Pretty Pear Bride as my first publication. And for me, that was a way for me to impact the wedding industry as a whole and help all plus size brides. And I remember when I started, they're like, well, everyone can use what you're saying. Everyone can use that kind of confident boost and that body image boost and that self-love boost. I'm like, that's great, but I'm not for everybody. I'm specifically want to help people that look like me. And I was like, because when I got married in 2004, there were no magazines that had plus size people on it. Right, there were no magazines, not even in it, not on the cover, like in it. There was no mention of a full bodied person, a plus size person, a large body person, a fat person, whatever you want to call it. You know, people kind of have all type of words that they use, but that we just didn't exist. Like we didn't. And so that's why I created Pretty Pear Bride, and then went on to start Owl Society with some of my fellow wedding planners and wedding bloggers. And then probably in 2020, y'all know the C word. Everybody was like, I'm out. I'm out.
Right.
And so it was pretty much like, do we let it die? Do we not do anything with it? And I was like, nope. So I pretty much just brought everybody out, just paid for it, and was like, no, I'm keeping it. And so now I've taken it on, and we're right at probably like 13 or 14 now, because we have had ones that are just not publishing. The publishing world is just different now. The landscape looks different. Publications look different. So we're right at 13 or 14, but now I own 10 of them. And so it's slowly becoming...
My bad. I didn't mean to say that.
No, that's all. It's okay. But it's slowly becoming where I want to, and not because I want to control, because I want to control. I want to control the narrative. I want to make sure that but there is a Black, brown, Indian, whatever person on all of my publications. There is same sex on all my publications. There are plus size on all my publications. And that was not something that was being done in all the publications when I didn't have my hand in them. And so that's why I was like, I have to control it now. And so it's like, you got the juice now, Shafonne. You got the juice. What you gonna do with it? What you gonna do with it?
What you gonna do with it? I love that language. And I think that is why we came up with this together. Like, literally, me and Tiara were like, what we gonna do? What we gonna do with the fact that we ain't got nobody talking to us, for us, by us?
Yes.
What we gonna do?
Well, you know what they say, if it's not there, you create it. That's your lane.
Bada bing, bada
that
boom.
Is your lane. Yes.
That's it.
Oh, yes.
That's it. So awesome. I love this.
Yeah.
Okay, Tiara. Like, look, I'm ready to kiki. I'm ready to kiki.
I'm about to say yes. I'm excited because we already know that we have an expert here with a wealth of knowledge. Okay. From the shoes that she filled, the opportunities that she provide for other people and for other couples. So we want to get into this Kiki Corner. We are excited. Okay. The only catch is you have 60 seconds to answer each question. Okay. So you guys are
ready.
Yes. If you are new to Filtered Thru Coffee, we welcome you. This is our new segment called the Kiki Corner, is when we ask rapid fire style questions to our guest expert. And today you are in for a treat, and I ain't gonna hold you. These questions are a little bit more selfishly, for the plus size brides, because of, myself and my co-host, that's, and yourself, that's where we identify, right? So our first question is, how can brides mentally prepare for a positive dress shopping experience and maintain that mindset throughout?
Ooh, the people who are around you. We are a product of our environment. So if you're looking at crazy stuff online, if you have crazy people in your circle that are not supportive of you, that are not supportive of your size, of how you feel in your size, don't bring them. Don't have them around you. Don't have them in your atmosphere, because they are going to be toxic. And that's going to ripple into your planning. That's going to ripple into your dress shopping. That's going to ripple into your day of. So I am 100% detox your environment before you even step into any wedding salon, so that you feel good. And that is the people around you as well. because sometimes the closest to us can be the most vicious on our emotions, on our mindset, on our how we feel about each other. So that 100% is what you need to work on for sure.
Oh, I love that.
With 16 seconds left. Come on, bada bing, bada boom.
Like, because I got to figure out like how long to talk.
Listen, I love it. Okay. All right.
Yeah, we will have to, circle back to that one in our conversation because that's so
I was
good.
just going to say, noting.
Yes. Okay, next question. What essential items could couples bring to their shopping or their fitting appointments to enhance their comfort and confidence?
Ooh, good question. Two things. Number one, I know everyone is like, there's no shapewear and no undergarment type situation. I get it. But hear me out. Most times when you're on your wedding day, you usually will have something, even if it's just like something just to smooth you. I think I always recommend at least having something to smooth. I'm not saying shapewear, but at least just to smooth, and take that with you because you want it to look the same way when you're trying on as it's going to be on the first day. Two, do everything that's going to make you feel amazing. If you like trap music, bring trap music. We listen to trap music when we trying on dresses. Right. If you want your hair a certain way, if you want your makeup to be done a certain way, that stuff makes you feel good. It makes you feel good when you look dolled up and you got your makeup done and you got your perfume on to make you smell good. Do all the things that you do to make you feel good normally. Specifically do it when you're trying on any type of wedding garments or wedding dresses or anything, because that's going to put you in the same vein. That's going to make you feel beautiful the same way.
Oh, that was good.
Did y'all hear that?
I get nervous. I'm like, do I have enough time? Did I say it? Like,
listen, I was fired. Okay. Some more. I think she got some more.
Yes. Let me go. I'm excited. Okay. So what strategies do you recommend for plus size brides to effectively communicate their style preference or their vision to their bridal consultant or designer?
You brought the fire on these questions. Like, y'all are not playing. I am a visual person, like through and through. And I know there's so many different modalities for people. Some people are visual, some people are kinesthetic, some people are auditory. This is the thing. If you know how you like to deliver information and communicate, that's how you do. I know I'm visual, so I'm going to bring images of what I like. I am a very curve-hugging person. You're going to see me in tight-ass jeans. You're going to see me in leggings. You're going to see me in a dress that is fitting my curves. That's just how I am. So I'm going to always visually bring something. If you are someone that is kinesthetic, maybe you actually even bring an example of something, like where you can say, hey, this is how I want it to feel. This is how I want it to do. I think oftentimes we think it can only be one way, and we go in and we don't share what we want because we're like, oh, that's their job to tell me. No. As someone who has done a lot of styling and worked with a lot of designers to collaborate on things, it is always so good when someone brings something in. When you bring something that says, this is my inspiration. Hey, I love florals. I love this floral design. This is it. This is a picture of it. This is how it smelled. Like all of those things. Bring it with you when you come, because that's going to help you communicate it better than just talking sometimes. Visual is always good.
Yeah. That was good.
Like,
I love
y'all
that.
Are like, I'm like, okay, do you have enough time? Did I feel the time enough? Like,
boom, bada bing.
Okay, listen, we care about the answers. I'll extend the time. Like, we need to hear.
Listen, yes, look, we gonna check with ourselves and say, yes.
Yes. Forget that. Okay, cool. So what are some common misconceptions about finding the perfect dress for plus size and curvaceous brides, and how can we navigate that?
Number one, you do not have to do a ball gown. And I say this with all honesty. If you love a ball gown, then you go with a ball gown. But I think we as plus size and curvaceous brides, curvy brides, whatever you want to call us, we have had this illustration about it has to be a ball gown. It has to hide our curves. We can't show our curves. We can't show our arms. Like, I think there's so many misconceptions. And I will be honest, from when I got married in 2004 to 2024, so we're 20 years in, there is so much out there that makes someone feel like that they can wear what they want to wear now, as opposed to when it was me when I was getting married. I didn't see it, so I didn't even think it was okay to wear it. Now you see so much out there. So it's like these misconceptions that we used to have, they're melting away because we're being able to see imagery. And I say it all the time, which is one of the reasons why I really started Pretty Pear Bride. I wanted to see imagery that looked like me. So if I can go online, if I can see imagery of someone wearing a dress that I like, whether that means a goddess dress, whether that means an empire waist, whether that means whatever dress, it could be a pantsuit, it could be whatever you want to wear, that you see someone else that looks like you wearing, that eliminates any misconceptions. But I think a big one is about the ball gown. I think another one is we have to hide our curves. Like, we, as in people that have curves and people that are plus size, full body, large, try, whatever you want to call us, we will rock a dress that is curve hugging way better than anyone who has no curves at all. Like, it's just a natural thing that happens with our body. And just like, it's like, boom, 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 like, hey, I have arrived. I have arrived. Please look at me, because I want you to see all of this ass.
Listen,
I want you to see all of everything. Against everything.
Yeah.
And I think we have just been, and it is systematic. It is one that people don't want to look at someone who is larger, who has curves in that way. So they've made us feel like we can't show that. But when really in reality, a lot of cultures around the world, like the women that are larger are worshipped, worshipped.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is a misconception that people are just like, oh, I have to hide. I have to make myself small. And I know we all are not there yet, and that's perfectly fine. But the ones of us that are there and are okay, please show, please do, please walk around, please be the imagery that the ones that are not ready need to see, and wear what you want to wear. So it's like the misconceptions are gone. What do you want to wear? You like that shit? Put it on. Let's go. Like, that's how I am. And most of the times it's like, they just need the permission. They just need the permission to say, is this okay? Do you feel good? Do you feel like you look good? Do you not care about what anyone else says? Well, then, bitch, that's what we're wearing right now. Let's go.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Yes, yes.
Permission. Yes.
Well, those who are listening, consider this your permission. You have gotten the permission from the infamous Shafonne Myers. You said, I've been doing this too long.
Yes.
Let anybody
Whatever
else
you like.
have to wear what I had to wear. Okay, that's what I heard. She said, look, there are options out here.
Okay.
Yes.
And
all right.
Speaking of
last
options,
60 seconds.
Yes, let's get into our last question. What are your maybe top 3, if you got more than that, give us 5, size inclusive bridal shops that you can recommend?
Okay. So, and we're talking about so I have a lot, and that's what I'm trying to make sure. I'm going to do some that are location based, and only because I have personally met them and I've personally worked with them. And then I'll do some that are kind of overarching. So 100%, I have worked with Brides by Young. They're out of Indianapolis. They're out of Indianapolis, and I've worked with them. Like, I used to live there. I lived there 10 years. So I worked with them extensively to kind of come up with their own collections. Now they're in New Jersey as well. But they are one of the ones that you just, like, everybody there knows, all the stylists know, everyone feels amazing. There is another shop that's in Seattle that I have worked with, Charlotte's Bridal. I love them. They used to carry one of my collections that were in there. I love them. They are also another one. They're in Seattle. Like I said, I'm kind of doing some location-based ones first that I love. There's another one that's in New York called Ivy and Maine. I've not personally met them, but they are amazing. We talk online all the time. I'm always cheering them on. I'm always just kind of celebrating them, because they have pretty much been at the forefront of really being a representation. Now, that's kind of the local ones that I personally know that I'm always shouting out and always giving credit to. Kind of overall national, I think Eloquy is doing a great job just with being imagery heavy. I have not personally tried on any of their dresses or touched any of their dresses or seen any of their dresses, but I know that they do represent quite well. And I'm always reading reviews, always looking at things, having people talk about their clothes. Another one is Studio Lavana, which is a designer that is also carried in a lot of ones. That's definitely a little bit more boho, a little bit more of the that kind of whimsical look. But they're another one. I talk to them quite often and have interacted with them. And I will go ahead and kind of do a shameless plug, just because that's what we do. But I know I have purchased a company, and we are getting ready to relaunch with some new styles called Ellen Oak. And they were one I know, and I've known them probably like 10 years, 10 or 15 years, because I did their styling. They had me come and do a lot of their styling. And then I just brought the company. I just have been kind of growing other things, but I'm getting back to my roots of really, I want to showcase curves. I think that as a plus size woman,
love to see him.
Like I mean, that's just me. Like anyone who knows me, they know you're not going to see some Shafonne in anything that's frumpy or anything that's not showing off her curves. And I am a 18, 20, sometimes 16, but I'm not small. So I really want to introduce that into the wedding industry because I think that is something like it's just missing. Like the designers aren't getting it. They're not realizing that we do want curves. So that's going to kind of be the migration that I have for that Ellen Oak brand now that I've taken it over, is to really be like, and I say it all the time, I want to be a higher end Fashion Nova, but bridal and plus size. Like, and I say it and I describe it that way because every person I've described it to, if you are into a Fashion Nova style, not the fast fashion of Fashion Nova, but that style, they get it. And they're like, yes, I want that for my wedding. I want that. So that's on the horizon. That's to come. But those are the brands that I have seen that are staples that I always direct people to. There's some other ones that pop up, but I don't like to recommend people that I don't personally know and I haven't met them and seen their stuff. And those are the ones that I've personally met, known, and interacted with.
I love that. That was good.
Okay, so is it just me, or did she just slide in there that she just like purchased a new brand? Like, I mean, is it me, or did
I need y'all to play with somebody else? Okay, hold on.
What I heard in there was, here's a list of all these local spaces, and here's some stuff that people I've met, and then here's my shit. Okay, that's what I heard. That's what I heard. She said, this is my Jew joint. Okay, listen, I love it. And listening to this list, okay, so now we've done Kiki's Corner. You've got a little bit more time to hold this question and the answer, right? So now moving into, like, you've listed all these great boutiques, and you've said you've had the experience of being the bride and then walking alongside brides. So taking this expert experience of personal and professional, how can bridal boutiques ensure inclusivity and cater to diverse needs of Black and brown brides who are plus size? And I give the caveat of Black and brown brides because I feel like there is a cultural context that can also be included with size here. So talk to us.
So, and this is such and I don't want to say heavy question, but it's a question that every time, like, because I speak literally all over the world about this, high end, mid end, like all types of people. And every time this comes into play, it's like, okay, I need to brace myself. Because it has just been this connotation of like, okay, she's going to berate us. She's going to tell us we're not doing it wrong. She's going to come in hot. She's going to make us feel crappy. And I'm like, I'm not here to do that. I'm just here to share data. And so what I have seen and what I've really tried to impart to a lot of salon workers and salon owners, because I say people who are workers in the salon, because most of the stylists are not always the owners. So that's why I say it from both sides, is like, I just want you to understand me. Like at the basis of it, I just want you to understand me. That is number one. Realize that you have a lack somewhere. That's all I want you to do at the base of it. And when I go in, because I do a lot of training with bridal salon owners, how can we be more inclusive, more so on the size side of things, but even when we get into Black, brown brides, melanated brides, and like, you can look at it from all standpoints from this. Number one, I just want you to acknowledge. Once you acknowledge, okay, yes, this is a demographic, whether it be size inclusive, ethnicity, this is a demographic that I am not making sure to market to in the right way, market to at all anyway. That's number one. I just want you to acknowledge. Number two, once you acknowledge, I really want you to open up your sphere of influence, circle of influence. Do you actually have any friends or anyone who you talk to or anyone who you follow that is, number one, someone who might be plus size, curvy, whatever you want to call, or even two, might be of a different ethnicity, might be Black or like for real. Because even just being in the circle of influence to where you can say and interact with them and talk to them. And I think that's number one, they usually get. Number two, the circle of influence. They're like, but I do. And then we go down the rabbit hole of, okay, you do, but do you actually reach out and interact with them? Do you actually talk to them? Do you actually figure out, like, what are your true struggles? How can I as a business do better to make sure you're represented, to make sure I'm marketing to you in the right way? That number 2 is usually where it's like, oh shit, okay.
They get lost in 2.
I
They
have
say,
a red dot
okay.
on my face, on my head right now, because I am not doing that part.
Right.
And I think once you do that second, really look at your sphere of influence or your circle of influence and who are you actually interacting with, you will very quickly see, oh, I'm not marketing to that person. I'm not being inclusive. I'm not understanding their needs. And it's little things that you can do in a salon atmosphere or as a plant or any vendor for that much. There's little things that you can do. And one of the smallest is just look at your representation in your marketing, look at your reputation on your website, looking at your representation. Like, do you actually have someone who is a plus size or curvy person in your portfolio, on your website, in your marketing? Do you actually have someone who is a different ethnicity, a Black, brown, melanated bride in any of your stuff? And if you don't, that's where you need to start focusing. And once you go back and you look at that circle of influence, you will realize, like, oh, I see, I understand. Like, and it's just that simple. It really is. And people are like, oh my gosh, Ron, thank you for breaking it down, because it seems so daunting a lot of times that people come in and they come in hot and they're like, you're not doing this, you're not doing this. I'm already have my guard up. If I'm someone who I know that I'm not doing this right, I already have my guard up. So I'm not listening. What you're saying is not getting to me because I feel attacked. Yeah. And it's like, it's the way that you come in and you just look at it from this way and they're like, thank you. Like, I didn't even realize that I was doing it that way. And sometimes it's just the aspect. I didn't even realize that I wasn't being inclusive, that I wasn't including, or that if you come into my salon and I only have this type of music, or I only have this type of thing, or I only have this type of imagery, I'm already turned off and I'm turning back around. And that's the type of thing that I think I've realized, that just talking to people, that they're like, I had no idea, Shafonne. I didn't even know. I really didn't even know. And that, I think, is the first thing. People don't even really know. That's my long-winded version. I'm so sorry, because I will get talking.
No. Okay, one thing before you go into the next question, Tiara, you do not get to apologize for just dropping gems.
Because I will get.
Look, there are no apologies. You can just pause and say, I am done for now, and then you make it, but do not apologize for being dope. We do not apologize for our amazingness on Filtered Thru Coffee. Yes.
I appreciate it, because I will get, and I think because I'm so passionate, and for me, that is why I've been able to get into so many rooms with people that would never actually listen in the first place. But the aspect that I'm able to get into some of these rooms and just shed light, just me being in the room most of the time is one of those things. They're like, damn, how you get here? Well, I got here, but let's have a talk. Let's have a talk, because this room is not looking right now.
That part.
Yes, and it's like I know that, and I'm so passionate about it, and I know that is my purpose, is to literally be that person who comes in a loving way, but who comes in a way like, I'm gonna come in loving and I'm gonna come in caring, but I'm gonna literally hit you in your gut, because some of the stuff is not working. Like, it's not working the way it should be.
Yeah.
So,
and that's real. And it's super important because, one, we are in a space where we have a lot of conversation about diversity, have a lot of conversation about inclusivity, but are we really doing the work, right? Are we just slapping these labels, right? Or are we really doing the work, right? And I love that you take like bootstrap, right? You know what I mean? You're in these conversations, you're in these back rooms, back offices, talking with the staff, training them on how to be more inclusive. And so let's get a little bit into that. I would love to know, even for myself, is there like language that should be used or avoided in order to celebrate, size inclusivity? And how can we be intentional about bringing that, into our business, not only just while we're working with them, but letting them know that it's safe here from the beginning. Like you said, that representation in your marketing. What other ways can we show up and be intentional to, carry those type of clients? And again, what language should we be using to let them know they're celebrated here?
Number one, language is great. And I'm going to say the language is actually not as important as the imagery. And I'm just going to say that because if I'm flipping through your portfolio, if I'm going to your website, 9 times out of 10, and this is just a sales psychology thing, I'm not actually reading all the time. Reading comes secondary because I'm going to read once I see an image that lets me know I can read. Let's just say that. So the language is great, but that's secondary because once I see imagery that lets me know it's okay for me to be here, and that okay to be here is seeing someone who looks like me. So at the least, I need you to have some plus size people on your website. I need you to have some plus size people on any of your social. I need you to have that because that alone speaks volumes of any language that you're going to use. Because I'm going to come to your site, I'm going to come to your socials, I'm going to come to your newsletter, I'm going to come to whatever you have a presence on that is online, and I'm going to say, they get me. And you know why they get me? Because they're showing pictures of people that look like me. So that means that I can be their client. Because if I don't see pictures that look like me, I'm going to think I can't be your client. And the shit sounds crazy. And everyone's like, well, why would they think that? Because there's no one who looks like me in this ad. There's no one who looks like me on your website. So why would I even think that you're going to even talk to me or want to work with me if there's no one who looks like me?
And so, don't nobody want to be the first either.
And it's like, it's so basic. And then when I say it, like, Shafonne, I have so many, I just never even thought about it. I said, that is also a subconscious thing that we do sometimes, is that you're like, oh, this is my person. When really there's all these standard deviations on the outside that are actually your people too, but you just think that this is your person here. And that is you are leaving money on the table, boo-boo. That's why you're over here trying to struggle to get clients, because you got clients over here thinking that that you don't want their money.
Yeah.
And they're like, I didn't mean to do that. I was like, I understand you didn't mean to, but that's what happens.
Yeah.
So really the imagery is where you need to start. And I tell people, anyone who I'm working with, anytime I do any speaks or anything, I'm like, just look at what you have right now. Awareness. Just look at what you have right now. And if you go and you're like, oh shit, I don't have anyone who is a plus size, curvy, large body, full body, whatever. I don't have anyone like that anywhere. That's a fucking problem. Because that means that demographic is not going to be calling you. They're not going to be inquiring with you because they're not feeling safe that they even can.
Yeah.
Then you move into your Black, brown, melanated brides or couples. Like, that's also the case. If I see a very homogenous looking demographic and it only looks one way, I am not going to 100%, like you said, be your first.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to be someone who you don't actually know how to photograph me, how to work with me, because that's some real shit. Like, that is some real stuff.
Real.
Even from designing dresses. Like, there are different shades of cream and white that work on different type of shades of melanated couples and brides. And it's just like, if I don't see that there, I'm thinking you're not going to know. And then I'm going to get screwed and I'm going to be the test.
Yeah. That part.
Yeah, so it's like, and I love, and I'm not, and I please don't think I'm coming for you by going in by saying this, but I think the part is everyone's always like, what language? And I'm like, language is great, but I don't even get to the language if the imagery doesn't pull me in. If I don't feel safe by even looking at the imagery to get to the language. So I would always say imagery first. Language part of it is just acknowledge, because I know a lot of people like, I have people all the time. Do I say plus size? Do I say curvy? Bitch, I just need you to say something. Like,
stop that.
Like, I don't even care. Like, I say that as a plus size person.
Right.
I don't care. I just want to acknowledge that you have actually said something about plus size, curvy, full bodied, fat, big body, large body. I don't even care. I just want to see somewhere that you have acknowledged us. And like I said, that can be done in imagery too. But if you have imagery and then you go to language, great. But I think we get caught up in that. Like, what do I say? How do I say it? What's the most appropriate thing? Just say something. Just acknowledge me as that type of demographic, and that will go a long way. So that's what I feel about the language and what's the appropriate language there.
Listen, and I love that. I love that. Look, get us together. All of us. Look, snatch all of our edges, okay?
Yeah, it's important because a lot of people do go to like language first. And I think you acknowledging that language actually comes second is something that, again, it's not, really talked about. And something as easy as switching that, order is going to make a bigger impact than, like you said, making sure that you touch all the diversity, buzzwords and terms and put it on your website, right?
That was authentic. Like, let's also be honest. Like, if I was to tell you, don't worry about the images, just do the words, and then I get to your website and you have no imagery, but you got all the words. Right. Yeah, that's not someone I want to work with either. Because now you're just putting the words because you got to put the words, but you're still not backing it up with the image. And I think that's the same thing where everyone's like, oh, I'm here. And then 6 months later, oh, I ain't here no more. Because I didn't really care.
Yeah.
That part.
No, that's so true.
Yes.
I love that.
Okay. Now, I will say this. As an officiant, words are what I work with. That is, that's my thing. And so how would we fit into getting, I don't want to say schooled, but schooled in, and how do we do better? Right? Like along this conversation, because I am language. Yeah. I'm all about the language. And of course I understand, imagery and pictures and things like that, but how do we hold both?
Well, I think it's interesting because I do have quite a few officiant friends and people that do like vow and speeches and things like that. And they're always like, well, mine is different. And I think when we look at, I'm a marketing salesperson at the heart of me, I'm a marketing salesperson. So I get exactly what you're saying when you're saying, well, I'm language, like language is my thing. And it is. But I think I really want to push the boundaries and kind of make you really think outside the box and look at where, okay, yes, language is, because girl, an officiant can mess up a wedding.
Oh, absolutely.
Baby.
Damn.
Make a break, baby.
And really, it's the point of like, everyone's asleep now, whereas we was at the cocktail hour and we was grooving, and now they're officiant to put us all to sleep, and now we get back together. And it is. And so that's why I said language is so key. But like I said, I want to kind of push the boundaries, and I want you to really think beyond just that one event of the event for you as an officiant. Because as an officiant, you can, yes, use the language during the ceremony, but you are also kind of setting the stage leading up to things, going into the event. That is where that imagery part comes in too. That is where it's like, and I'm going to be honest, there's some fire people who I was like, I don't even need to hear you talk. Just the way you carry yourself, just the way that you look, just the way that you bring in the party, like you coordinate things to another level. And it's not just that little ceremony part of it. So, and that's why I'm like, let's think outside the box, because yes, language is good, but just like the way that you carry yourself for someone who, when we're looking at diversity, you were reading your customer and your client way before that ceremony so that you can infuse yourself in a way that is complimentary to them. So if you have someone who's plus size or curvy and they are super, super confident, you're going to usher them in and their bridal party in a totally different way than someone who might be a little bit more demure, who might be a little bit more not wanting all eyes on them.
Absolutely.
So that's a way that you can also bring in that diversity and that culture in a way that it's not just a ceremony. And I think that's when you then get to, I want to say it on my mouth, but I don't, because everybody just gets this word messed up. That's when you bring in that next level. And I wanted to say luxury, but luxury is so, I hate the word because it's so varied. But I like that next level, that eloquence, that where I'm not just an officiant, I'm someone who is literally orchestrating and maneuvering and making sure the experience of your event goes off flawlessly.
Yes.
And that from a planner standpoint, that is when I'm like, yes, thank you, Jesus, because I'm over here making sure the next part is good. But I need to make sure that my officiant has that on point. And I think that's what I mean by like, not just language. Like you can do it in so many different ways other than just the language. And I think that's when I've seen those next level ones. And I've been like, damn, they ain't even talked yet. And I'm like, wow. That's some fire shit. And
Yeah.
that's where that comes in like that.
Amen. Amen.
Yeah.
Because, Tiara and I are always talking about this, and I'm a huge proponent of saying, I don't just hold a script, I hold space. And so when what you need, how you need it, and then that I'm a good pivoter.
Yeah.
Look, how do I hold space for you from the time you said I think I do to I will. And so I will do. So I feel one.
And that's where you can really set yourself apart and get that, like, where it's not just about the language, but then include the diversity aspect. And like, because I've seen some officials like, I only do it this way. This is all I do. This is all I do. And I'm like, wah, wah. Nothing against that if that's your thing. But you have literally just cut off anything for that client who was someone who was a little bit more boisterous, who was someone who was a little bit more vivacious, who was someone who wanted to incorporate their culture in different ways. You have just told me that you don't appreciate any of that. And you don't want to do with any of that by you saying, I only do it this way.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where it's like that diversity line is crossed, because or that inclusivity line, because like, I don't do it this way. Not, I'm open. You let me know what you want. How are you thinking? What are some things you want to incorporate in? Let's build this out together and create an experience.
Yeah.
That is how you can step in and appreciate and really do a nod to someone's inclusivity or someone's culture or someone's diversity without it just being about language. And that's how I see kind of officiants really coming in and being able to dominate and stand out just by being open and flexible, because some are just not. Like, and I'm like, you were killing your money. You were killing your vibe. You were killing your marketing. Like, you were killing it all because, and y'all know this demographic, these people who are getting married now, they are all about personalization. Like, if you cannot help them personalize their event, they're on to the next person. They're on to the next person. Whatever vendor it is, they are onto it. They want that personalization.
Yep.
No, absolutely. I love that. When you spoke about this idea of just wanting the personalization, like, I love that. And it's the authenticity too, that I think that why we started Filtered Thru Coffee. And if I may, Tiara, why we started our own business, it was recognizing like we didn't see us. And it's time when we wanted to get married, who was going to stand up there with us? Who was going to hold space for us? And can't nobody hold space for us like us, right?
Ma'am, that part. That's the ultimate. That part. Yes. Yes.
Baby.
Yes, I love that. I got chills. I got chills hearing that, because I think that is the other part of really, truly being authentically you.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about, like, and I tell people all the time when I do talk about marketing or anything and get into like the different inclusivity, different diversity, they're like, well, I don't want to just be this type of person. Or this is my client because I don't know if anyone else is going to like that. The aspect that you're saying that I don't know if anyone else is going to like that right there is dimming your light anyway. Because there's so many different ethnicities and diversities and people out there. Your person is out there. If you want to be a beatboxing officiant, do it. There is somebody, I know that's what I'm saying.
Absolutely.
Someone out there who wants that. If you want to be like, that is the part that I think that truly brings it full circle about being inclusive and really looking at different ethnicities and specifically Black, brown, and melanated. Like, I can't tell y'all though, like, whenever I've worked with a Black bride, I've been like, okay, you tell me, girl, bring it. Let's go. Like, what do you want? And I'm just like, I want this. And is it going to be off? Is that kind of off? No, that's you. Like, that is you. And I want you to be that all day long. And so we as vendors, if we can show up the same way, you will see that you will connect with so many different ethnicities and be inclusive to so many people because you're like that. The ones that are not authentic, the ones that are hiding, the ones that are like, I'm only this is the only box I'm in. Those are the ones that are not going to truly be inclusive of other ethnicities, other sizes, everything. I think that's a really big indication for a lot of that for me.
That was really good. That was really good. And I love that you spoke to, well, first of all, you spoke to a couple different things, but I think what you really spoke to is one, that couples still feel like they need permission, right? On all different levels, right? Permission about what type of dress they can wear, what type of ceremony they can have, and what they're going to have at their reception. And it's just a lot of decisions that you have to make during the wedding planning process. But I think what you spoke to is finding those vendors who, one, meet you where you're at in terms of creativity, right? Encourages creativity, supports your creativity, give you ideas to even make it more creative and more personalized. But then also just being that sounding, person to be like, and it don't got to be your mama, your auntie, your cousin, your sister, your whoever's wedding. Like, it don't got to be that. Is this weird, girl? No, it ain't weird. What you want to do? We doing it. Let's do it. Like, it's almost like you consistently got to break the shackles off of people. And I don't think there's a little bit of conversation, but there's not enough conversation about how much pressure is felt from the couple during this time, which you want them to be excited about it and talk about it all the time. But then every time I talk about it, you got something to say about it. And there's a lot of opinions. You know what I mean? Like,
it really is. Like, you want me to do this, but then you get mad when I do this, but then you don't like this. And I'm like, I ain't gonna talk about it no more. I'm done. That part. I'm done. Yes.
No, seriously. And the other part is that, like I said, couples are looking for these vibrant, authentic, experiences, whether it's with their officiant in the ceremony, whether it's, guest experiences that they're that's going to happen in a reception. Regardless, they're looking for things to keep everyone excited and keep it fun. So I think we have a really amazing opportunity now in this seasons of like weddings and what people are looking for.
Yes.
It's cool.
It is. I love that you said that. Because some people look at it like, do I want to go there? Do I not want to go there? And I was like, when you look at it as an opportunity, and at the crux of anything with marketing and sales, we're here to solve problems 100%. We are problem solvers. We are in the problem removal business. From whatever business you do, you are in the problem removal business. So when you look at it that way, I have the opportunity to present to someone a different way to do things, to present to someone a way to do things that's going to make them happy, that's going to make their guests entertained, that's going to have them leaving like, I feel better than what I came. At the end of the day, that's all I fucking want to do. I want to make you feel better than when you came. That's all I want to do. Now, if that means that I might have to give you a little liquid IV to make sure you can wake up in the morning, I'm going to do that. I got you. It's okay. But I do want you to feel better than when you came here. That's our opportunity. And I love, love, love that you said it that way, because that's how we have to look at it. It's an opportunity.
And so I really need you to speak to, because we can see how passionate you are when you speak, right? That's why I needed you on this podcast. Just a little backstory. I went to Wedding MBA for the first time last year. That was my first time ever meeting Whitney in person. But that was also my first time meeting Shafonne, okay? Ever even hearing her speak. And I remember saying this to you after. I feel like I've been doing myself a disservice by not knowing who the heck you was. So thank you. But let's talk about how you turned your passion of representation into a brand like Pretty Pear Bride or like Owl Society, and what sets them apart.
Ooh, girl, yes, fire. I think for me, and I think this is something that when I talk about marketing and sales specifically, and not just in the wedding industry, because I do a lot in the coaching world, a lot in the personal development world. When you look at yourself, we tend to look at ourselves as our business. And for so long, and I think that is really where Pretty Pear Bride took a turn when, I tell this story, and every time I tell it, I remember I was going, and I don't even know where I was going, bro. It was so long ago. But I was going somewhere, and I was at an event, and someone was talking about Pretty Pear Bride. And I was like, but you just sit back. They were, and not in a bad, like actually like raving about it.
Yeah.
And then they were like, I was like, oh, really? I was like, oh, I own that. And they're like, no, you don't. Because I had not stepped forward and become like the personal brand of my brand. I had not become the representation of my brand. So they were literally talking about it and raving about it. And I was like, oh, really? Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. You love that. Like, I own that. And legit, she was like, no, you don't. Bye. Like, no. And I was like, No,
But
I really do.
Right.
And I think it was such a turning point, and that's where I really started stepping forward with Pretty Pear Pride and being the advocate for it, being the spokesman for it, being the personal brand for it.
Yeah.
Then I did the same with Our Society, because we have this thing of, we have a business. I'm behind the scenes. I'm behind the computer. I'm working. I'm not really in a lot of my marketing material. I'm not really out. A lot of times if you go to someone's website, they don't even really know who the person who owns it is. And I think we do such a disservice, because especially probably the past 4 or 5 years, people want to know the people behind these brands, because ultimately, and I know it's so cliche, but people buy from people. Like, I don't know if I want to go. And I mean, even when you look at Apple and like Steve Jobs, like once he kind of stepped forward, everyone's like, oh, that's who that, I don't want it, because he looks hard as fuck. Like, he looks like he know what he's doing. Like, literally. And it's like, I think that was where I had a big change, and where like my passion really came forward a lot more, because people could see the passion. They weren't just hearing it or seeing it in what I was doing, but they saw the passion in me. And I think that speaks volumes for people, because a lot of people don't want to do that, don't feel like they need to. And those are typically the businesses that don't do as well. Because when I know who that CEO is, when I know who the owner of that business is, that makes me want to do business with them and talk about them more, talk about them in rooms they're not, because I know that person. Now, I might physically not know them, but I know them enough from what I see. They present themselves. I could talk about them in a way that I feel like I know them. And I think that for me was a big turning point when I did that. And I think even now with Our Society, because with Our Society, I own 10 of them. Like some of the biggest publications in the wedding industry, I own. Most people don't even know I own them. They know that I'm a CEO of Our Society, but they don't know me as the owner of Brooklyn Bride, or they don't know me as the owner of Elizabeth Ann Designs. They don't know me as the owner of Mountainside Bride. They don't know me as the owner of some of these publications, but I own those. But that's where I started realizing that there's a CEO founder face, there's a company face, but then there's the face of the people that work with you as well. And I think that's when I started looking at this trifecta, and how like these big companies, Coca-Cola and Tesla, all these big companies are starting to really emerge. Like, I have a CEO brand, I have my company brand, and my employees have their brands, all kind of filling up to our company, but we all play our part. And I think that was such a huge revelation for me, which has allowed my companies to start doing so well, because they know me. They're like, just like they like, oh, I know Shafonne, I've talked to Shafonne, I've seen her, and I love her energy. Whatever she is behind, I can get behind. And that's where we need to start going. And I think some of the luxury brands, some of the top tier brands are really starting to grasp that, because they understand that. And you're starting to see a lot more of these like people that are big planners and big vendors starting to step forward as themselves. And you see them and you start to know them. And now it just has to trickle down, because I know it's harder. It's harder kind of when you get into that mid tier, or that, just getting into luxury. Well, I don't know if I want to be the brand. I have people who are employees that are under. I'm like, that's great. Everyone gets a part. Like, your employees should get an Instagram. Let your employees have an Instagram under your company name, so they can see what they're doing, or let them pop in sometimes on your company Instagram. Like, let them know everyone in the company. So I think that's what's really set me apart, and what I've learned, and how I'm able to kind of share my passion in a bigger way, other than just Pretty Pear Bride and then Our Society. But that was that transition of how it worked, though.
That was so good.
I know. I think it was differently with a lot, but it's because I'm in the wedding industry, but I learned so much outside the wedding industry. And that's how a lot of the bigger brands and big companies do things outside of our industry, kind of in the lifestyle realm. And I've learned so much, and just bring it back to the wedding industry.
Yeah. That's so smart. That's going to set you apart, just regardless. Because a lot of the times you see, even when you scrolling, you just see the same thing over and over and over again. And maybe they change the word here, or they use their background here, their logo here. But it's something about being able to take outside of your industry what's working and adapt it to your industry. And now it's working in such a unique way, because you've taken this unique idea, and then you've made it even more unique to fit into what it is that you want to do, your purpose and your value. So
exactly,
that was good.
Yeah, I love this.
That's another conversation just on branding. Like, I think we
I
might
mean,
have.
like, I would love that. Like, if you're up for it, a part two sounds like it's boiling in my spirit.
That's my jam. Like, I've played around. It's so funny. I say I've played around with it, but it's like and this is gonna be. We tend to dummy down what we're really good at a lot of times, and dummy down, and not in the best way. I'm not. I don't know if that's the right word. Oh, everyone knows that. Like, no one needs me to talk about that. Everyone knows that. And I'm like, that's basic. Like, you don't know how to like market yourself and show up online. Like everybody, because it's easy to us. That's what I mean. Like anything that's extremely easy to us, we tend not to talk about because we think that everyone else knows it. We think that like, you don't know that? You don't know how to do that? Like, no, Shafonne, like, please tell me all your things. And I'm like, oh, you just do this, this, and this because it's so easy to us. And I have learned that what I am extremely good at is marketing and sales, like extremely good at. Like I could do this. And it's like, it comes easy, but you dummy it down or you think that everyone else knows it. So you just don't talk about it as much. And I have just learned that is what I'm extremely knowledgeable in. And I've realized like, oh, like you want to hear about that? Oh, like you don't know how to, you don't know that? And they're like, no, like don't stop talking. I will just put a recorder here and just listen to you talk. And I mean, like,
that's really what we doing.
Yeah. But it is, and everyone's like that. You just have to figure out what that thing is for you that you're just like, oh, everyone knows how to do that. And because it comes easy to you. And then you could talk about it for hours. And then it's just like, but you think everyone else knows how to do it. So that's why you don't talk about it. It's the craziest thing. But that's when I've realized like that is my thing. Marketing and sales is my thing.
Yeah. So you are slaying at marketing itself. You are slaying at holding these multi-brands. You are slaying at motherhood and a wifedom and a puppy parent and all of the things like.
Thank you.
And so where did Slay the Aisle come from?
Oh,
and how do you use that model to drive your impacts? Listen, honey.
Yes. Oh, okay. So Slay the Aisle. So, y'all went to the depths.
It was the layout for me.
Like
it was.
One of my and I say problems, that's not really a problem. Like I am a URL whore. Like I will think of an idea. Well, because and it comes back to I have trademarks. I have tons of trademarks, but the way that you really can do like a poor man's trademark is you just get a URL. So like if it's something I'm like, I don't know if I want to trademark it yet, I'll get a URL. So I got Slay the Aisle. And I got it because I used to have a program for my plus size brides. So I had a program for plus size brides, just really teaching you about how to build that confidence. And I know from a marketing sense, you can't sell confidence because you can go look at Lizzo and get confidence. That's not a thing you can sell. But what you can sell is what confidence gives you. And I know for a plus size bride specifically, and this can go for all brides, but you know, my demographic, I'm always going to go for a plus size bride. How do I help you really embody that confidence to be able to slay the aisle? And I remember when I was creating it, I launched it and I didn't say slay the aisle, but I just was kind of like, oh, you know, I don't even know what I called it. I don't even know. And then one day my husband was like, gosh, you look so good when we got married and you slayed the aisle. I was like, bitch, just say that. And so, literally, and I was like,
confirmation. Right.
Yes.
Like that cat. Like
and I was like, oh my God. And I was like, oh wow. And so it's so funny. So that is actually so I used to have a podcast for Pretty Pear Bride, but that is going to transition into Slay the Aisle. And it really is going to be for all brides, because I think at times I know that I want to center around plus size brides, but then I also feel like it is very much not the inclusive mind of myself sometimes, because I know that it's something that just brides in general, dealing with the negative thoughts in their head, dealing with the parental stuff or family stuff. How do you truly slay the aisle? So yes, that is where that's coming, but that is where it started. And it's so funny. I mean, like, and that's how I am with, I'll be like, oh, really? Like I have like engaged on social. Like that's my marketing and sales side. And I was the same thing. I was like, ooh, engaged on social. And I was like, it's such a play on words. Yeah. And it's like, oh my, so I'm a URL girl. I probably have, no joke, probably 200 URLs that I own. And it's like, no joke. Like, and I feel like every day GoDaddy is taking money out of my account for like a renewal.
GoDaddy, Zaddy, look.
That's literally every day. So yeah, no, I would. It's probably 200, and it's just ones that I'll keep, and some of them I'll drop after a certain month. I was like, oh, I'm not gonna do anything with that. But that is for me how I'm like an idea. I will buy a URL, and that is like my stamp hold for an idea. But yes, that is where Slay the Owl came from.
Look, and she's slaying the URLs. Look, she just said,
like, it is an addiction because I will buy a URL before I do anything. Like, it doesn't even have to be a formulated idea, but I will buy a URL. If I hear something, I'm like, ooh, that's good. That's a good one. I will buy a URL because that is a way of trademarking and keeping someone out. Girl, then I've sold them because I'm like, well, I'm not going to do anything. So I'm like, I'll pay you $3. Okay, here you go. There you go. Like, it's a thing. I love it.
I love it. I mean, you could be buying a whole bunch of shoes. I mean, that may be your vice too, but I'm just saying, like, you got URLs. Like, I just loved it.
Yes, it is definitely my vice. Hello, I am Shafonne, and I have a URL addiction. Yes.
Come on, welcome. Look, welcome, Shafonne.
Right. Oh my gosh, I love that. I love that. So we've had so much great conversation just around, again, visibility, representation, holding space for us and people who look like us. And so I would love for you to just share maybe 3 tips of how our audience, our newlyweds, couples that were past married, can submit their real wedding photos so that there is some inspiration and representation out there for the brides that are coming behind them. How can they go about that process?
Sure, especially because all of my other publications goes through Matchology, which is a software that I have but for Pretty Pear Bride, I want brides to be, because this is what I've run into, and I've had vendors submit, and then the bride wasn't really wanting to submit it, and then we had to retract it. So I feel for Pretty Pear Bride, I want any bride to submit. Because then at that point, I can go and talk to a vendor and make sure the vendor is okay. But the bride, and especially with it being something about plus size, not everyone's ready. Not everyone's ready to have their images out. Not everyone's ready to be classified as a plus size or curvy bride. And I get that, and I understand that. So I think for Pretty Pear, you can go directly on the site. We have it where it says submissions, and it's one that's for vendors, because vendors do have to pay to submit. But if it's a couple, it is 100%. I want you to submit because I want you to feel like you have a place. You have a place that we're going to accept you. You're going to be accepted. I think that's another thing in the wedding industry, especially for couples, is that, oh, I didn't get picked up. They didn't pick me up. They didn't accept me. They didn't want me. And I'm like, no, boo, that's not it over here. You will be accepted. You will be shown. You will be having your page. You will have your feature. You will be on social. And I think that is my way of making sure that you are feeling seen and heard, because that I've heard it. They're like, yeah, my photographer, whoever submitted, and I didn't get accepted. I'm like, just imagine that I went through and I showed up and I went through like, yes, I want to be submitted. And then you're like, I'm not accepted. And I get it. Every publication is different. They have a different aesthetic, whatever. But Pretty Pear Bride, nope, you go straight to the site and we have a submissions tab. And you can submit directly there. I will say we usually are kind of working on like a 2 to 3 months, because I don't want it to only just be like show. So I try to space it out with different things so that it's not, because I think that gets, we all are vendors, we know. Like, we're like 2 or 3 features in a day. And I'm like, well, dang, I was this morning and now someone else is this afternoon and my time is gone. Yeah. And I'm like, I want to space them out. So sometimes I only do like 1 or 2 a week, because I want you to be able to be celebrated. I want you to see that, okay, I've been on that top page for this whole week and I've been seen and I've had my time. So yeah, I just always preface that we're usually like a 2 to 3 month time for turnaround, for getting them up. But yeah, I'm so excited. I can't wait. Like, I think that's for me. Like, I love it. And I'm like, look. And then they send me a message and they're like, oh my gosh, thank you so much. And I'm like, of course. Like, dude, you are gorgeous. You and your person are amazing. I want to share that with everybody because it's inspiration. So yeah, we have it on the website. Brides or couples can do it directly on the website.
I love that. That is so exciting, because I think that has been a lot of conversation. I'm starting to see it in the Facebook groups. I'm someone who is like, I like to check the temperature of the market. Okay, I'm in the vendor Facebook groups. I'm in the couples Facebook groups. I'm seeing what people is talking about, and I see that that's a big conversation, and people are looking for that inspo, right? Because again, we're in this unique space in the wedding worlds right now where people are not doing traditional, they're remixing traditions, they're going non-traditional, they're being just completely original, and so they want that inspo, they want stuff to look at. And we could really do, again, a great service to the wedding industry by putting those real, weddings in there. But I think it's really good that you spoke about it coming from the couple versus from the vendor. And a lot of times baby couples don't even know that they can submit their own wedding. So that's another reason.
And most of them can't, like on a lot of publications. Some of the local ones I've known because I've submitted some of my clients, they do a lot more through couples, but most of them are through vendors. But I learned with Pretty Pear Bride, I want your buy-in first. As a couple or as a bride, like I want your buy-in first because I understand everyone's not ready. Everyone's not ready to, one, be published like that, which I know sounds crazy, but it's so true. But then two, publish on a publication that highlights specifically plus size brides. Everyone's not ready for that. And that's okay. I want your buy-in first. So I want you to submit it to me because then I know you are ready. You are ready to be featured. You are ready to be shown. And I think we've had some gorgeous weddings that we had to pull because the vendor was like, I'm so sorry, but the client actually is not comfortable. And I have to appreciate that. But so that's how we switched it. And we're like, nope, we only want from couple. And we'll take some from vendors too. But couples specifically is what we want to really focus on.
I love that. That's so smart.
I mean, so we have talked about the gamut. And
we have.
I mean, and I'm curious. Is there any question that you wished we had asked but didn't?
See, and this is just me, and I really want this to also probably be another topic. Like, I am a huge proponent, and this is kind of getting more into like my life. Like, and I love how you said, like, you're slaying this. My husband and I, we've been together since we were 14 and 16. So we've been together a hot minute.
Yeah.
And I truly enjoy talking specifically couples because this is something for couples. Just about like how to be intimate, how to be like a couple, how to like deal with that. And I'm not coming from like, I am not a sex, I am not trained. I don't know nothing about like I did not go to school for that. But I think it comes up so much when I'm having like roundtable chats or when I'm having like these smaller intimate chats that I would love to kind of dive into that. And even more so, going into even the plus size side of it. And it doesn't have to be plus size, but for anybody. But I always get asked that when people realize like, oh, you've been with your person a long time. Have you dealt with this? Fuck yeah, we have. Have you dealt with this? Yes, we have. How do we like? Because we've been in there so long. And I think when you look at married couple or people getting married, that stuff comes up during wedding planning. Like it just comes up a lot. And I think I've seen a lot of friends who that has been a breakdown in a relationship, and planning a wedding can alter that as well. So I think that was one thing that I was like, and that's what I said. We can talk about anything and nothing is off limits to me because I don't care. But I would think would be something that'd be a cool conversation to have. And even get questions from people and talk about different scenarios. That's always cool too.
Like a live. We could go live and then like have people submit questions. I love that.
Yes.
We'll add that on our list. And one of
the things to speak on what you were talking about is how things come up during this process. And I tell couples during my premarital counseling, how you plan your wedding is how you navigate your marriage.
Yeah.
And so if you got a bunch of insight from mama and them, guess who's still gonna have that insight after you say I do, right? If you have no boundaries or if you haven't been able to explore the hard questions, like it's gonna be a little difficult because you're still gonna be navigating, trying not to explore the hard questions. And so this is a huge moment in time where so much comes up. And, I would love to have that conversation with you. And then, just bringing up, but that's why we are here, recognizing that like, it's a lot of stuff that comes up and it's a lot of questions that aren't being asked or we don't know who to ask because how do I really have that question and be like, okay, how do I smooth my garment without having to do, who are you asking? The white male preacher officiant that you like got because it like no one, and no shade to white male peoples, but just the idea of saying like, well, I can't really ask you how to include my grandmama like in this because, you know, in our culture, grandmamas are, you know, just like all of those things. And so regardless of the example, the idea of recognizing culture, sex, finances, love, family dynamics, boundaries, like body image, emotions, therapy, children, all of the list goes on. And I'm just really glad that we are here to be authentically space holders to let people know that, yo, you can bring it all here.
Oh
And
my
we got
gosh.
you. And if we can't get you, I know a sister who can.
I love that. And I'm gonna like love that because our officiant was the dad of someone who I went to college with, and I loved him. We had to have some deep talks because he asked those questions, and he was like, "Okay, what are you gonna do about this?" But he put it in a way and made it in a situation and was an authentic space holder. That shit, girl, that needs to be
URL.
I was trying to say it without saying it because I don't want no one else to hear it, but yes.
Listen, I'm on GoDaddy right now. Look.
No, I'm not that's a good one. That's a good one. That's a good one. But it's like you all actually as officiants, if you do it the right way, you all have you can make such an impact because you can be that navigation. We're not even talking about the experience. We're talking about the pre. Like the pre part of things, because a lot of times you do get the officiant that I can't ask that question, but I do want to ask that question. And I kind of had this question, who would I ask that to? You all can become that. You all can really start fostering that and being those beacons of light for people, authentic space holders, of people. Because people, they need it. They really, because I remember being so open to him, and God bless, he's passed away now, but I just remember being so open with him and having conversation. And like I said, we had been together a long time anyway. So we just had already discussed a lot of this stuff, but it was just the aspect of being so open and having that third party. Like, because it was some stuff like if I went to his mom or dad, if I went to my mom or dad, and you get the bias on either side, you are literally a Switzerland. And it's like, I'm a Switzerland, I'm coming in to help you, but these are questions you need to ask. Like, that I love so much. And yes, I'm here to have whatever discussions, whatever conversations. I am raising my hand saying I'm here to help however, because that is something that I love. But you all are so powerful. You are at such a point where you can make such an impact with that. And that's what people need right now. Like, need right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Whew,
I love that.
Like we've been through a whole church service and like.
I was about to say. Listen.
Don't play with my Pentecostal self. Come on here. Be ye ever ready. Okay.
Wow. I mean, but I love it though. It was so good. So good.
I love that. Well, Shafonne, we thank you so much for just taking your time to chat with us. You know, our cups are empty. I mean, you filled them, we drank, and then you filled them again, and now we drink it again. We ain't gonna take all your time now.
I'm telling you that.
It's the tea.
It's perfect. Yeah. It was perfect. It was perfect.
It was so good. We just thank you so much for your time. Everyone, for listening. Listen, drop any questions, comments. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you share this, okay? Let me tell you, if this is your first time experiencing Shafonne, we are so excited that we gave this opportunity to you.
You're welcome.
When we got it, we was like, we need it again, okay? So, yeah, we are so grateful. Shafonne, please tell people where to find you, drop your socials, and anything else that you want to leave our guests with, our audience.
I think this is, and I just as you all were saying that you all got filled, I think that's when you know it was a good conversation. When no side walks away feeling like, oh my gosh, I didn't get as much as I put in. Like, I am feeling just as filled as you all are filled. And I think that's how it should be. That's how any conversation should be, especially something like this. I love to play on Instagram. I think that's like my best place to play. And I always tell people to go to my name, Shafonne Myers, at Shafonne Myers, because you can get to all my businesses from there. You can get to everything I own there, but then you also get a glimpse of me. And I think that is where I always people are like, wow, and they see me and they see, I share my kids, I share my husband, I share what I'm doing around things and marketing and sales stuff too. But I love to play on Instagram. So at Shafonne Myers, and you can get to everything else from there.
Oh, yes, y'all. Okay, so I'm going to leave you with this. We will see you next time on Filtered Thru Coffee. Thank you so much, Shafonne. Rev Whitney-Marie, you already know. Another one in the books. So proud of us.
And another one.
Another one.
Another one.
Period. We thank you guys so much for listening. All right. Bye, guys. See you next time.
See you later.
Well, that's a wrap for today's episode of Filtered Thru Coffee. We've enjoyed serving up some wedding wisdom with a splash of melanin and some culture. Until we sip again, remember, your wedding journey is like a perfectly brewed cup of coffee. Flavorful, bold, and uniquely yours.